Ladies and gentlemen, about 4 years ago, Donald Trump called Andrew Gillum a thief. Now, this was based on corruption when he was mayor. He was under Federal Bureau of Investigation. He was under investigation by the Bureau. And the interesting thing is CNN Trump, showing no evidence, calls Andrew Gillum a thief. Fast forward 4 years, and you have Andrew Gillum indicted under 21 counts. 21 counts for conspiracy, wired fraud, and making false statements. The indictments allege that between 2016 and 2019, defendants Gillum and another person conspired to commit wire fraud by unlawfully soliciting and obtaining funds from various entities and individuals through false statements and fraudulent promises and representations that the funds would be used for a legitimate purpose. So, this is Wednesday, June 22nd, and I'm reading the Department of Justice press release pertaining to the indictments. There are about 21 indictments total that he's facing. Both defendants are charged with 19 counts of wire fraud. Gillum is also charged with making false statements to the agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So, and there might be 2 counts pertaining to those false statements. It's been reported 21 counts total. So let's see. 21 counts. So yeah. Okay. And you have a situation where CNN, this is the reporting that Trump had to deal with. Okay, it's interesting too because I was kind of, let's see, was I still on the left at that point? I don't know. Thank God I left that dysfunctional, corrupt, my God, the corruption. They think Trump is corrupt because they've convinced themselves that he committed all these crimes. Meanwhile, Democrats are being indicted left and right. Michael Madigan, same thing. Brian Benjamin, same thing. They're all either misusing campaign, they're either misusing fundraising dollars, or they're engaged in a criminal endeavor to utilize their political influence and gain money from businesses in some manner. But here, this is something that Trump had to deal with for 4 years, actually since 2015, even today. Trump, showing no evidence, calls Andrew Gillum a thief. This is Tuesday, October 30th, 2018. Okay? 4 years, around 4 years before former Mayor Gillum is indicted under 21 counts. Okay? Here you have Washington. President Donald Trump launched what opponents decried as so they tried to say it was prejudicial against gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum, labeling him a thief without evidence and claiming that as mayor of Tallahassee, Gillum oversees one of the country's most corrupt cities. Okay, well, you go down a little bit here, and here's what journalism has become. A press release for the Democratic Party in the most Orwellian sense. It literally states within the CNN article 4 years ago that where Trump said, oh yeah, you know what, the man's a thief. It says, despite Gillum's assertion that he is not a target of the federal probe, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders claimed Gillum was under investigation by the FBI when asked at a news conference on Monday what the president meant when he used the word thief. Quote, that individual's under FBI investigation. I would refer you to that, Sanders said. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the matter because it involves 2 candidates running for office, and I'm not going to impact that due to the Hatch Act. I'll leave that to the president to make those kind of statements. Gillum's campaign dismissed Sanders' assertion as desperate falsehoods in a statement Monday. Now, there was no effort from CNN to reach out or do any investigative journalism pertaining to so there was undercover agents. Here you have the records relating to Gillum's were subpoenaed by state ethics commissions, according to Tampa Bay Times, cast doubt on the explanation of Gillum's campaign. So he was already under investigation, different investigations pertaining to corruption as mayor. Okay? Different investigations. And just the headline alone, you could just look, and it's like the typical Trump showing no evidence calls Andrew Gillum a thief. Well, he was under investigation at that point. He had also had numerous ethics violations, and there were investigations during his tenure as mayor of Tallahassee. So it's not like you didn't see this. It's not like you didn't see this coming, or it's not like Democrats, for example, aren't like throughout the country. There were 3 Democrats in St. Louis charged with the same thing. Brian Benjamin, the lieutenant governor in New York, he was charged. Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin, charged with bribery and related offenses. That's the Department of Justice. And you have Michael Madigan. So, former Illinois Speaker of the House, Democrat, indicted on federal racketeering and bribery charges in connection with alleged corruption schemes. I mean, that's 3 top Democrats in the past 3 months. You have Brian Benjamin in April, Michael Madigan in March, 4 months or so, and Andrew Gillum in June. And the media and Democratic Party just they think Trump is capable of anything. But he was already a billionaire before he became president. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need like Joe and Hunter and Hillary and Bill. They need the money. They need politics. That's just the way Democrats operate since Tammany Hall. It's not like that's just the way they do business. That's the way they operate. They have all of media running stories like this. Trump showing no evidence, calls Andrew Gillum a thief. It's like, well, 4 years later, he, along with Michael Madigan, Brian Benjamin, 3 Democrats in St. Louis. I mean, again, the Republican Party, there are Republicans that get indicted also. But it's not the same extent. There are more Democrats, especially this year, a lot more Democrats, charged for crimes that have to do with fundraising and criminal activity pertaining to businesses and racketeering and bribery, that type of thing. They utilize their influence in politics, which is exactly why when Joe forced out a prosecutor and the entire system said, how dare you, he did it because the prosecutor was corrupt. Well, there are emails from the company that the prosecutor, according to Rudy Giuliani, was going after, saying, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? So you have Joe forcing out a prosecutor, and then you have emails, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? Gee, you think that's do you think, like, it's interesting how when Democrats, like, when you try to explain this to a Democratic pundit and you say, well, look, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars going to a foundation or going to businesses of Hunter or Bill and Hillary. They say, well, there's no evidence that you could point to where people just gave the money because they were expecting beneficial treatment. Then you're like, well, President Obama didn't veto the sale of uranium, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity, and then you know who owned it. And also, Joe forced out a prosecutor in the company that asked Hunter to use his influence. Do you see any correlation there? You can't prove anything. A lot of people say that prosecutor was corrupt, and it was good that Joe forced him out. And it's like, my God, they can be caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and they can be caught literally with their pants down, and you still can't convince Democrats that emails, money flow, beneficial treatment equals corruption. They don't get it. They don't care. They think Trump saying something, alleged to have said something is allegedly saying something is the epitome of corruption. Like, gossip and hearsay with Trump is actually more relevant to the average Democrat than emails, money flow, beneficial treatment, quid pro quo, pay-to-play schemes, and indictments on their side of the political aisle. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel also. Hit subscribe to this channel. I have a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel right now and the Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel right now. Thank you.